or so for folks to join, and then we will get started. But as people are logging on, welcome. I'm glad that you're joining us, and we are excited to share news with you today.
So excited.
Yeah.
Trying to contain myself here.
Exactly. The highlight of my week. All right, it's 12:31, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. My name is Dr. Halim Malik Francis. I am the program director and professor of practice for the public administration program at the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. I am joined by Karen Pandy-Cherry, who's the vice president of programs for New Leaders Council. And I am delighted that we are able to share with you great news about our recent partnership established with New Leaders Council. So the purpose of this webinar today will be to share with you some great information about the partnership, what it entails, the value of this partnership and relationship, and hopefully to answer also any questions that you might have. So as I shared, I'm Dr. Halim Malik Francis, Program Director for Public Administration. We also have on the call Professor Brian McNamara, who is off video right now, but he is our professor of practice, full-time professor of practice in our public administration program, and Karen Pandy-Cherry, Vice President of Programs for New Leaders Council. I really would love to see, I know there are a lot of people who are joining us from around the country. So if you could just put in the chat where you're joining us from, or use the Q&A function, either one is fine, to share with us where you're joining us from, what your name is, if you're a New Leaders Council member, or if you are a current Tulane public administration student, that would be wonderful. Just to give you some background, and I'm gonna let Karen share as well. I personally am very excited about this partnership. I first learned about New Leaders Council as a nonprofit and philanthropy practitioner when I was living in Dallas, Texas, and I had the pleasure of speaking on a panel that they were hosting, the current chapter there was hosting, about fundraising and philanthropy and engaging of the nonprofit sector in this work. And from that conversation, from that panel discussion, it was reinforced for me the importance of the approach that New Leaders Council takes. Really, to me, it was an approach that valued local proximate leadership, so leaders who can connect with their communities, and also leaders who are able to work across sectors. Because in the world of public administration, in the world of civic impact, being able to collaborate and work together, even across different ideologies, is really critical and important to being able to advance our communities and support our communities for their betterment. So I just want to express my gratitude and appreciation to NLC for the work that you all have done all these years, especially the local chapters doing this work. Before I hand off, I just want to share that we have folk joining us from Orlando, Florida, Maryland, Texas, New Orleans, several different spaces. So welcome to all of you, and thank you again for joining us. So without further ado, I'll hand it off to Karen to share some background information on New Leaders Council.
Thank you so much, Halima. Thank you, Tulane. Thank you for this partnership and for the months of discussion that have brought us to this point. I am incredibly excited that we are here. I'm also excited to see so many folks in attendance today. Shout out to my NLC fam. It's good to see y'all on here. As Halima said, my name is Karen Pandy Cherry. I am the Vice President of Programs at NLC, New Leaders Council. I have actually been with NLC since 2016 when I myself went through the Institute program, which you'll hear about in a second, but went through the program in Broward County, Florida with my husband, fell in love with NLC then in 2016 and just dove right in, ended up becoming the mentorship chair on the local chapter board there, and then went on to do some national volunteerism with the organization, did Spark Talks, which are our own sort of TED style talks, became a lead facilitator and trainer during Institute. And one of my absolute best, most shining accomplishments at NLC was one of the co-founders of the National Black Caucus. And one of my other co-founders, Brandon Mack, is actually on the line. So shout out to Brandon as well. And so we founded the Black Caucus for NLC, for the national organization, in 2017. And so I have been in and throughout all of the different phases of leadership in NLC, and then joined as Vice President of Programs on staff in February of last year. You can see what we do, right? You can read that for yourself. I will say that we like to say in NLC that we are the people that train the people that change the world. If you pay attention at all to what is happening around us in this country and in the world, if you find yourself agonizing over some of the things that are happening, NLC, New Leaders Council, that word new is not just about millennials. It's not just about people who are finding new ways into becoming a leader. It's also about new ways of thinking about leadership, right? We believe in NLC that while it is important for us to get out and vote, it is important for us to inform that process. It is more important for us to invest, like Halima said, in those who are proximate leaders, folks who are on the ground in their communities doing the work. They know the names of their neighbors. They know the names of the folks that they are working to help. And some of those folks may be themselves or their family members, right? It's important for us to invest in that level of leadership. And then NLC also really is about different experiences, varied backgrounds, diverse voices, and making sure that we are bringing together folks who would not otherwise have their voices uplifted, not otherwise meet one another or engage with one another for change, but we bring them together and really do a robust, not only training through our 6-month institute, which runs from January through June, but also in your alumni experience, right? When our folks graduate from Institute in June, they become alums, right? Like me, like the folks that are on this call, you are an alum once you graduate, and we make sure that we remain connected with one another, because it's not only about how we show up in the world by ourselves, but it's really about collective impact. We are amazing alone, but what can we do together? Which is again, another reason why I'm so excited to be having this conversation with Tulane and the School of Professional Advancement, because it is important for us to understand that we are able to really make change. We're able to really advance progress and the world that we want to see when we do it together. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to answer any questions that you have about NLC and about this partnership. And I will make sure that I drop my email in the chat as well in case folks have questions afterwards. So Halima, thanks. I'm gonna send it back to you.
Yes, and Karen, before we move on, I just wanted to, we have a couple of folk who may not be as familiar with NLC in structure. So can you speak to a little bit about how NLC is structured. We have shared here chapters,
Yeah,
alumni,
absolutely.
fellows. How does all that work?
Absolutely. So NLC is one organization, but we have 50 chapters across the country. Those chapters are run by amazing volunteers at in every chapter. So our chapters, we have some statewide chapters, like our North Carolina chapter is a statewide chapter, but then we have other chapters that are city chapters. Florida has 7 chapters. Texas has a bunch as well. And so, yeah, those chapters are run by volunteers. So when you go through our program from January through June, when you go through the program and you graduate, one of the things that you are able to do to then advance your leadership, to be able to learn in an environment that is a controlled and safe environment, is to become a chapter leader. And then we have in HQ or headquarters, we have our senior volunteers who are our lead trainers, our folks who are our National Diversity Committee, who help to make sure that we are advancing equity and diversity. And then we have folks that are on our National Programs Committee as well. So all of these volunteers really help to run our organization. We have 10,000 alumni now. 2006 was our first year as NLC, so we've been doing this for quite a while. We have 10,000 alumni across the country, and then we bring in, on average, 800 to 1,000 fellows every single year. So each chapter is allowed to accept a maximum of 20, so it's really competitive to get in. Each chapter accepts a maximum of 20 fellows each cycle. Our applications open May 1st and close towards the end of September. So you have a nice long window to be able to apply. And we are focused, like I said, on these cross-sector leaders. So do you have to have a degree? No. Do you have to be someone who aligns with our values as an organization? Absolutely. And I'll make sure that I put the website, the website in there. And so you're able to walk your leadership journey all the way from January when you start Institute and you're looking at your goals and your passions and your strengths, all the way through becoming a senior volunteer in the organization.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So as you can hear and see, establishing this partnership is wonderful because it ultimately helps to bolster leadership capacity and knowledge and skill. So being able to work with New Leaders Council to positively impact every community or many communities throughout our country is really one of the great benefits of us being able to work together. So thank you, Karen. So moving along, I'm going to talk a bit about Tulane School of Professional Advancement and the public administration program and the different elements that you would experience as a student in this program and how it can benefit your leadership path and your leadership journey. So the public administration program is a graduate level program. So we offer an MPA degree, Master of Public Administration. We offer graduate certificates, and we are housed in the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. The School of Professional Advancement is really one of the well-established and is a very valuable element of Tulane University, or school within Tulane University. The university itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. And Tulane started offering its first continuing education classes in 1886, which was really lay the groundwork for the School of Professional Advancement. Our commitment, our work in addressing the needs of adult learners specifically has lasted for over 130 years. And as a public administration program, that foundation, that grounding is really important, and it benefits us to the extent that our focus as a school has been on professional education. It has been on providing educational resources and training that is applied in nature, that allows you to gain skill and insight and knowledge into the tools and the work that you will need actually in your field in practice. So our work is really shaped around that focus and that mission. Um, this pours over to our expertise in online teaching and learning. So many of the courses that we offer are offered online. The public administration program is an exclusively online program. We've trained over 200 we have faculty, over 200 faculty who are trained in online instruction. So they specialize in being able to teach online and being able to deliver course content and experiences online. And they are skilled and trained in that regard. And it ultimately offers flexibility and accessibility. So being able to focus on the needs of working adults uniquely positions us to focus on flexibility and accessibility. So you being able to access your coursework and your course experiences in a way that aligns with your work-life schedule is really important to us. Next slide, please. So focusing a bit on the Master of Public Administration program, our central focus and mission is to prepare forward-thinking and responsive and thoughtful ethical public service professionals who are positioned to lead within a diverse and ever-changing civic sector. When we talk about civic sector, we are looking at the civic sector more broadly. So we look at government, we incorporate frameworks and knowledge bases of nonprofits and philanthropy, also private sector, so corporate settings as well. So we move forward in our coursework and in our teaching with the understanding that many of these domains work in concert with one another to impact our communities and hopefully do so in a positive way. So our aim is through our courses is to really prepare you to navigate the nuances of being able to work across sector. Our curriculum features 12 classes that are focused on applied practice in real world context. So those 12 classes equals 36 credit hours, 3 credit hours per class. It incorporates that foundational knowledge that you need together with contemporary practice innovations. So in shaping our curriculum, we really took a look at what do you need to lead in today and future contexts in community and civic work. And our faculty bring both academic qualifications and expertise from the field. Most of our faculty are currently working in practice. So they not only bring that academic knowledge or that theoretical knowledge, but they also bring lived experience to your classroom experiences. We offer tracks for mid and early career professionals, and I'll talk about some of the differences in that as well a little bit later. And then in terms of career or degree completion time, we have students who are able to complete in 1 year if they take a bit of an accelerated focus, or they can complete in as little as 2 years if they take 2 classes every term. So there's a lot of flexibility there in how you complete this journey. Next slide. So looking at our faculty, I can best describe their value. And these are some of our faculty members, and you may have seen them, you may be familiar with some of their work depending on where you live and the work that you've done. But our faculty are of huge benefit for our students. And I recently spoke to a student who was navigating some career choices, and they shared with me that one of our faculty members had taken the time to provide them some insight and some professional coaching, if you will, on questions that they should consider as they were interviewing for a job position, things that they should think about as they were thinking about working with a particular organization. So the impact of our faculty goes well beyond the classroom. These are individuals who have stood at the forefront of civic innovation in their respective fields. They have had a significant impact in government. They've led initiatives in nonprofits and philanthropy. They have been able to advance equity and diversity and inclusion in communities and in sectors, just based on their knowledge, based on their experience, and based on their networks. And as a student within our program, you have access to that. You have access to these amazing individuals who've done this work. For any of you who are familiar with navigating civic sector, we know that much of it is relational. I still look to, having worked in practice for over 20 years, I still look to the relationships that I established as a practitioner to inform what I do today. So many times this work is rooted in those relationships, and our faculty, they bring that to the table, as well as a wealth of critical skill building knowledge. Next slide. So to dig a little bit more deeply into our MPA degree requirements, we have 7 core courses, which include a career-focused capstone. So our core courses include topics such as technology, data in the civic sector, cross-sector collaboration, and all of those courses are undergirded with expertise and knowledge within equity, diversity, and inclusion. So we incorporate that in all of our courses, as well as having a core course that focuses on equity, diversity, and inclusion in the civic sector. So these are key elements of our program, again, focusing on what is needed for contemporary sector leadership. We also have optional concentration areas, and these concentration areas you see listed here: nonprofits, K-12 education leadership, economic development, environmental management and resilience, and emergency management. All of these areas are critical issues that our communities grapple with every day. These are the things that we see emerge as key issues and challenges within civic sector work. And that is why we incorporated them as concentrations. So as a student, you have the opportunity to build that specialized expertise if you'd like to declare a concentration, or you can pick from courses throughout the program for your electives to be able to build kind of a diverse background in all of these fields. So you have that option as a student in the program. Our capstone is a career-focused capstone where you interface and interact with a specific organization and agency. So it gives you the opportunity to do some hands-on work, to really experience, what does work look like in the field? How do I navigate the expectations and the demand of my field, alongside with trying to make a difference and do great work. So our courses and your experiences as a student all come back to being able to prepare you to hit the ground running as a practitioner once you graduate from the program. So next, I will talk about some of our experiential components. I will say that the majority, most of the courses that you take in the program have some level of experiential components. There's usually a project that you do that is applied in most of your courses that applies to a specific challenge that you're trying to address. So you might be studying a community and you are developing a strategy, if you will, or making recommendations for how to address a specific issue that a community has been grappling with for some time. But within the program as well, you're able to take that work a step further through your capstone and be able to, as I shared before, work directly with an organization. Also, for those who do not have a substantial amount of experience in the field. So those generally who have less than 3 years of experience in the field, the capstone does incorporate an internship component. So that again gives you additional exposure and access to knowledge and information. And also additionally with that, we have a required residency, which is in New Orleans. Our residency is held annually. This year, we will be hosting our first residency. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the initial residency due to the pandemic, but we are excited that we will be hosting our first residency early June this year. Students can participate in the residency at any point in their matriculation. Some opt to do it their first year in the program, others opt to do it the second year. We do not regulate or dictate how you approach the residency, but it's really important to participate in the residency because alongside your coursework, it offers you the opportunity to do some really important networking. Also to participate in panel discussions and workshops that add more context and add more background to the coursework that you've been doing in the program. So our residency is a 3-day residency where students, again, have the ability to come on site. And after being in the program fully online, you do have the opportunity for that face-to-face interaction, which helps to build on that relationships. So looking at the specifics of our partnership with New Leaders Council, and Karen, after I kind of walk through this, I invite you to share any additional insight as well. Really, this partnership is about increasing access to professional growth and skill development opportunities for our leaders who are equity focused and doing this work within our communities. We have structured it so that not only is it available to New Leaders Council members, so current fellows, but also alumni, because we know that this work is ongoing and we want to make sure to support those of you who are continuing as alumni with New Leaders Council. So we've made it available to both. It's for graduate courses taken towards the completion of an MPA degree, so Master of Public Administration degree, and offers a 20% tuition discount. And one of the great things about that is that it expands the question of accessibility. It expands accessibility for you. We know that education is expensive. We know that it is an investment. So we wanted to offer this tuition discount to you. And I will share a little bit later in the next couple of slides what our actual tuition, what our tuition is per credit hours, and then you can kind of calculate what that 20% discount impact would be. So again, we're really, really excited about this. Karen?
Yeah, I wanted to add as well, for the folks who are already in NLC, that we are looking at the other side of this as well, where we're going to be building into our programming next year, where those who are participating in the program will have an opportunity to share what they have learned to our community. So you won't have to wait for graduation to be able to do it, but for you to get the experience to be able to speak to other alums and to other fellows during Institute about the things that you are learning and have mastered, and where you can share with our community. So just wanted to be able to point out that we're looking at how this partnership can even be more robust for our NLC folks. So not just joining the program at Tulane, but also making sure that you're able to get some experience from sharing that with other NLC members as well.
Thank you, Karen. And I'll add to that and say that if there are opportunities or if there are things that you as NLC members or Tulane MPA students see that we can do to make this a more robust and gratifying experience, please let us know. This is just the beginning for this partnership. So this is making this investment on our side and on the NLC side to be able to offer you the tuition discount is really the start of the conversation, but we really want to be intentional with how we partner and partner in the spirit of being able to grow capacity, grow networks, grow communities. So if there are things that you see that we should be incorporating or that you would like for us to incorporate in this partnership, let us know. And we can certainly explore that as well. So moving to our application process, just to kind of walk you through a few logistics there as well. Applying is pretty straightforward. When you apply to the public administration program as an MPA student, there's an application fee, which for participating in this webinar, you will be waived for you. We ask for transcripts to be sent from your institution, your undergraduate institution, or mailed in a sealed envelope. There's no GRE requirement for applying to our program or admissions to our program. The GRE requirement for us is we've not found it to be a distinct determinant outside of some other elements in determining student success in our program. So we don't require the GRE. We do ask that you complete an essay or a few essays that talk about your interest in the field, what you hope to achieve by earning a Master of Public Administration degree. So we do ask for that insight in essay form. We also ask for your resume or your CV to give us some insight into what your professional background has looked like thus far. There's also a verification form. It's a very short form that you can access through we help you navigate how to complete that form to indicate and verify you as a new Leaders Council member or alumni member, and we apply the discount. So everything is pretty straightforward. We help you to navigate things. We help you to work your way through the process, and we are very, very, very accessible, which speaks to, again, what your experience would be as a student in the Tulane School of Professional Advancement Public Administration program. Next slide. So I mentioned tuition a little bit earlier. Our base tuition for fall, spring, or past fall, spring 2022 and summer 22 is $11.19 per credit hour. The full program, as I shared, is 36 credit hours, and each course is 3 credits each. So if you effectively take that 11.19, multiply it by 36 credit hours, and then take a 20% discount, that will give you what your savings and benefit is for tuition costs for the program. So all in all, having access to the quality of education under the Tulane brand and the name and prestige that of course comes with Tulane University, it is an affordable and worthy investment in yourself and in your career growth. So that is our tuition level. So our application deadlines, you see here, we do review applications on a rolling basis, and we encourage students to apply sooner rather than later, because sometimes our cohorts get full, and we really want to be able to review and admit students who are strong applicants and who we think would be a great fit for the program. So we do have 3 start times, which is a great benefit. So if you are finding that the summer deadline doesn't work for you and you want to start in the fall, you certainly have that option. Also, you have the option to start in the spring. So I really appreciate that we have fall, spring, and summer start times, because that does speak to accessibility and flexibility for those who are navigating their timing and work. for students who are seeking graduate study. So with that, that's all the information I have to share at this point. I think we can open it up for questions for a few minutes. And certainly here's my contact information and Professor McNamara's contact information as well, if you would like to reach out to us. And then we also have our social media contacts on here also. So with that, Karen, did you have anything that you wanted to add to anything that I've shared so far?
No, I think that was great. We can take some questions.
Awesome, awesome. So it looks like we have a question in the chat. Is NLC providing a stipend or relocation funds for, or both, for folks who would have to move to New Orleans? The funds associated with the move would eat up to 20% tuition discount. And I can speak to that from our side. The program is online, so relocation would not be necessary. So beyond that, Karen, did you have any response or anything to
No,
add?
yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why this partnership was the right partnership, because we knew that so many of our folks from around the country would want to take advantage of this. And so that online piece was really important. So no funds for relocation, but not necessary.
Exactly. And just to say, about 50% of our students are local. Roughly the other 50% are dispersed throughout the country. We have seen some students who are international as well. So we've been able to really successfully navigate the diversity of locations also.
Yeah, awesome. So I see another NLC question. Is NLC a fellowship or internship opportunity, or when you have a job in the public sector, you can apply to be a member? NLC is a fellowship. You can find out if there is a chapter in your area, and you can apply to that specific chapter. The institute, you would have to apply to be accepted into institute, which I said runs from January until June. And then upon graduation, you would become an alum. We have folks that are in every different sector that you can think of, right? So not just the public sector. We have folks that work for Etsy, and folks that are entrepreneurs, and folks that are nurses and doctors. And so there's not one particular sector that you need to be in, but I would recommend checking out our website and seeing where we have chapters, and reaching out to those chapters. But again, the application opens May 1st. You do not have to have a specific job or a specific degree, and it is a fellowship.
Wonderful. And I am pausing. I'm using the quiet pause for a moment to give anyone else who has a question lingering, the opportunity to let us know their questions. Right. Well, hearing and seeing none, I again want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you also for the work that you are already doing in your communities. We all know that the impact and just the amount of effort that goes into keeping our community strong and improving in our communities is a tremendous, tremendous lift. And your work is critical. It's really, really important. So for those of you who have committed your career paths to this work, I just again want to express my appreciation for you. Also want to thank the folks at NLC for working with us and being partners with us. And we look forward to what grows and what comes out of this. So thanks so much. Karen?
Yeah, I echo everything that you said, Halima. Just thank you all for joining us today. Be safe, be well. Remember to take deep breaths. And Just enjoy this work and this life and be blessed. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we look forward to hearing from you all. Take care. Bye-bye.